everyone, it's Lisa from To Create a Website. I wanted to talk to you today about a topic that I've actually been getting some emails about in the last month or so. I don't know what it is. I guess maybe because so many stories are out in the news now about people making money from AdSense. You've got the teenager from whateverlife.com who's making millions of dollars a year and has hired her mom and all that. And so I think now that all this internet stuff that I've been doing for the past 10 years, it's now spreading. So, and now more and more people are hearing about everyday people making money online. So now I guess that's why I'm getting so many questions about it, because people are starting to realize, hey, even just the average people like myself, hey, I can do this too. And you're right, you can do this. But before you get started, and if you've already started and you're struggling, I want to talk about something that maybe you can relate to. In the past, I would say month or two, I've been getting a lot of emails from people asking me specific questions like, how much content do I need to write before I'm making X amount of dollars? Or how many pages do I need on my site before I can start seeing a nice check from Google AdSense? And right away, I can tell when I get that question, people don't really understand that this is a business. This is not like a 9-to-5 job where the boss will say, okay, you'll get paid $9.50 an hour, or you'll get paid $30 for every account you close, or whatever the number is. This is a business. So how much you make depends on so many different factors. The topic you choose, if you choose a very competitive topic like sex or employment or something like that, obviously it's going to be a lot more competitive and harder to get traffic. So yes, you can make a lot of money, but it might take a lot longer because you're going to have to push to get yourself through all that competition. And then there's your dedication. How dedicated are you to learning how to market your site? These days, building a website is not the hard part. I mean, you can hire somebody to do it for you. You can buy a software program to help you along. You can get free templates online. I mean, building your site, that part is pretty easy. But what separates those from the people that succeed and fail is the dedication, the work, the time you spend really understanding your business plan, your focus, who are you going to target. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, this is not about just throwing up, 50 pages and sitting back and waiting for the money to roll in. 10 years ago when I got started, you could do something like that. I mean, there weren't a lot of people, that understood search engine optimization. So I remember people would rip off my content all the time and steal my ranking. And so they would just copy what I wrote, steal my ranking, steal some affiliate commissions. I mean, it was really easy to do that. But nowadays, it's much more difficult, and you really have to prove to your audience that if you're trying to make money like I'm making from basically having a content site and making money from affiliate programs, you really have to work hard at building your credibility, not just with your audience, but with Google, with Yahoo. You got to prove to these sites and these people that, hey, I am the real deal. So it's not about how much content you need. Granted, you want to have a lot of good content, but it's more about how useful is your content to your specific audience. And can you go out, and do you know where to go find your audience and get in front of them so they can subscribe to your blog, so they can, tell their friends about your site, so they'll bookmark your site and come back over and over again, so they'll buy products that you recommend. That's the big thing, and that's why if you're going to make money with a content site, I'm such in favor of choosing topics that you're invested in and you have some experience with. Because oftentimes what happens, if you're trying to choose a topic that's hot, iPods are hot, I'm going to make money telling people to buy iPods, that's great. But let's say, do you have an iPod first of all? And if you don't, what are you going to talk about with iPods that's going to wow everybody? What kind of unique spin are you going to put on iPods if you don't really know much about it and you've never used one? And I'm not saying, there's some clever people out here. There's tons of people who are making money talking about things that they've never bought. Some people can work the pay-per-click market and they can just generate ads and make money quickly from pay-per-click, but that's not the average person. The average person is not going to be that savvy. I mean, that's just the truth. I'm not trying to dog anybody. I'm just keeping it real. So that's why I think it's best for the average person to pick something that you know about. And when I say know about, I'm not just saying, oh, okay, I know a little bit about painting a house. I'm just going to go look around the net and find some articles and kind of paraphrase them and put them into my own words and then throw up a site. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, maybe you can get some traffic that way, but wouldn't that get boring after a while? Wouldn't it be much better to say, hey, I really know a lot about this topic, and I noticed that I haven't seen a lot of sites out there that talk about it from this angle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my own experience. I'm going to look and see what's already out here. And I'm going to create a site that's a little bit different than a lot of the popular sites out there. And I'm going to put my own spin on it so people will say, hey, I've never thought of it like this. Or I'm learning something. You're doing something different than, you know, the other 10,000 people out there are doing. And that's kind of the approach that I take when I create my sites. If you look at tocreateawebsite.com, it's not, you know, it's not like the content is like, oh, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. But when I created that site 6 years ago, in 2002, there weren't a lot of comprehensive sites on website creation. Yes, there were a few tutorials and there's a place you can go to get templates, you can register your domain, but there weren't a lot of sites that talked to the beginner. And if there were, the people were kind of distant, you know, they didn't put, of course back then they didn't put videos on their sites, but they didn't put pictures, and it was just kind of like a cold site that, you know, didn't have a contact form. They were very impersonal sites. So I said, hey, I'm going to talk about this since I've experienced, you know, website creation and I've created my own sites. I'm going to create a site to help people, but I'm going to add my own personal touch to it. I'm going to go above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to offering help and advice. And so I think that's a big part of why my site has done so well. And then, you know, you've got the people that see my site and they go, oh, I can just copy her content and, you know, try to steal her rank. And, you know, back in the day, that used to work. Nowadays, it's not as easy to do that when you're just copying content, because you've got to have your own unique spin. You've got to have people that will vote for you. And when I say vote for you, I mean subscribe to your blog, you know, tell people about your site, sign up for your newsletters. You know, you've got to work harder to earn that credibility. So that's why it's so important to choose topics that you're really, really invested in. I've seen, you know, a lot of people start up their new sites and I'll read them, and right from the first paragraph it's clear that either maybe they need to work on personalizing their writing and making it seem like they're talking to their audience, or they're just not engaged in the topic enough to make it interesting. And more importantly, they're not thinking about their audience. They're just writing for the sake of writing. You should never have to ask someone else what you should write about on your topic. It kills me when people say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a website. What should I write about? No, you need to say, hey, this is what I'm interested in, and this is the audience that I want to target. And once you have the audience, once you can say, I want to target males between the ages of 12 and 18 who are thinking about going to college, you know, or something. I mean, you should have a very, very, very defined niche, because once you know and you can draw out who you're targeting, writing content won't be as big of a challenge. You should never have to ask, hey, what should I write about? No, who's your audience? And what would your audience, when they come to your site, what would they want to know? What questions, what problems, what's the issue that they have? Then all of a sudden your site becomes more useful because you're talking directly to those people you want to focus on. So that's why I wanted to create this video today. Like I said, I get tons and tons of email, and even more as of late, from people who they want to know how long it takes before, you know, how much content they need to write and how long it's going to take before they start making money. It's going to take as long as it needs to take. It's going to take as long as it takes you to find whoever your audience is online, promote your site in front of them, and give them what they need. And how long that takes largely depends on you. So I hope that this video has kind of given you some insight, especially if you're struggling with getting traffic. I mean, it's really important that you carve out your own little niche, and you know, whatever theme you choose, you got to be your own person. Don't be afraid to if everybody else is saying, you know, 30 things you should do for X, Y, and Z, make your site about 30 things you should not do. Take the opposite approach of what everybody else is doing and make yourself stand out.